It'll be just as we see it here today, and that consistency really helps the team as they go forward, especially as we look to next season.
And a couple of key players in the GT Daytona category, the 96 in right behind them, the leader from GT Le Mans, Racing Competizione Ferrari, and Vilander out, Fisichella on board, Cal. Boy, did they get pit stops right in the racing camp.
They really did. Nice clean pit stop, it looked like there. I think the Turner Motorsports crew is waiting there for the final drops of fuel here. See the crossover between the GTD and GT Le Mans cars in the pit stop. Look at this, Dane Cameron going for it. Boy, oh boy, he's a man on a mission right now. Recent news is he's going to be driving for Team Penske, the accurate DPI car next year. You can see right now he is not afraid to mix it up. This is traffic dealing with it. Just forces the issue. Wants to make it happen here in his final couple of races for the Williams Engineering Group.
He puts his mind to a pass, it happens. It's just that simple. Now, it'll be interesting to see for the 96 Turner BMW, now that they've got Jesse Krohn on board with that helmet system, whether that radio is back up and working. We'll follow up on that. But right now, look at your three class leaders in the times of stops.
So you know you can trust Continental no matter what you drive. Continental Tire. For what you do.
No commercial.
You ride on board the number 10. Wayne Taylor Racing, Konica Minolta Cadillac in the hands of Jordan Taylor, leading overall at the Continental Tire Monterey Grand Prix. I'm Greg Creamer, Calvin Fish alongside in the booth, Brian Till, Jamie Howe, Justin Bell down in pit lane. And we are with you here until 8 o'clock tonight in the second to the last race of the season. And you ride on board with the points leaders right now, on pole by a big 0.8 of a second. And after the pit stops, Cal, they've got that lead back up to a sizable chunk as well. Exactly what they needed. Now we hop on board with the number 911, Porsche 911 RSR, Dirk Werner back at the helm. They charged their way up into second. They're sitting third right now because Joey Hand is absolutely on a tear in that Ford GT.
He is former BMW teammates in DTM over in Europe. They ran together. And Joey's on a charge right now. This is his home track. He's got his family here. He's got his neighbors here. They're all been camping on the circuit. So it's a big weekend for Joey. He loves this racetrack, but he's never won here, believe it or not. Had a lot of success, a lot of podiums, but never a win. Led late last year and then had the tires go away on him a little bit. We obviously had the 67 on that fuel economy run, what got the win for Ford, but the other one, so Joey Hand on a tear right now. But we saw Dirk Mueller on his run kind of fade a little bit towards the end of the run, so certainly Joey Hand, he's got to do 2 full fuel runs now. Remember, Dirk's was cut short a little bit. Once they got inside their window, Joey's probably going to have to go 60 minutes a stint now. Got to manage those tires.
Yeah, from Sacramento, California, a lot of laps around this track right now. Let's go back and take a look at that pass for what was second in the GT Le Mans category.
They've been nosing his way around here, and here is traffic up ahead. Down into the Andretti hairpin. We talked about it, don't play Mario Kart. Well, Joey makes a nice clean move. Dirk Werner certainly gave him the racing room as well. I don't even notice a graze there. No contact. Joey Hand is charging right now, and right in front of him is that Racing Competizione Ferrari. So in the pit stop exchange, remember, Vilander had a 12-second lead. That has basically gone away here. They're faded a little bit. Certainly Joey Hand is on the charge.
I wonder if that little bump from the 31 of Dane Cameron may have just done something.
Looked like side to side, and when we saw the action, Dane had certainly committed to going around Vilander. I don't think Vilander saw him. He then tried to make a move on Morad in the GTD Porsche, and there was contact. And it doesn't take much, Greg, to really just lose the balance. Certainly Ferrari have had it here this weekend. That's how they got the pole, but something a little bit knocked aside. Maybe they've just lost that sharpness.
Yeah, just a little tweak on toe end, which can easily happen in those side-to-sides. A little scrap here right now as well. 14 and the 96. After the stops, they've dropped back just a little bit, the 14. Now in the hands of Robert Alon, driver change in the Lexus, the 96, as we said, now with Jesse Crone at the helm. And right now, those guys are racing for 8th. And the Acura, the number 86 in, having a good run as well. Jamie.
Yes, Oz Negri now out of the car, handing duties over to Jeff Siegel. Listening to team radio, he said, Oz, you're turning some phenomenal laps. You need you to keep doing that. Some flyer going in so they can eliminate some of the delta time that it takes to make this pit stop. They were very pleased with what he did. They did drop the top car too quickly, though. They didn't have the wheel gun off, so losing precious time here on pit lane. They still have to replace that left front Continental tire. Work is done. Fuel is complete. Driver change. Now they can drop it and go. They did lose some costly moments.
Yeah, that did cost them time, unfortunately, but a brilliant run for Oz Negri. He's kind of struggled to get up to speed with these GT machines with ABS and everything, but suddenly he's starting to find his form. Brand new chassis after the incident at VIR. And I think for Oz Negri, I like those colors. He won here overall in a Shang prototype machine with the identical livery last year.
He was awfully fast in the first few practice sessions, right up in that top 2. Came to qualifying, and he said, we had just the perfect amount of understeer in practice. Came to qualifying, and with snap oversteer, said just completely different. And he said, now we've got to go back and work on it. And nobody spends more time, I think, thinking about what he can do to improve the car than Oz. And boy, they got it right. And as we watch Dane Cameron on one of his patented charges, let's check in with the gentleman who started that beautiful Whelen Cadillac.
Yeah, you talked about being on point and being fast. Certainly the 31 car has been quick. Certainly in qualifying you did a great job, Eric. What kind of car does Dane have right now? How has the track changed?
Well, I mean, the track is a bit different than it was yesterday for sure. I mean, today versus yesterday qualifying, we had a quick car in qualifying, qualified 4th, and it's just gotten really hot here at Laguna Seca Mazda Raceway. And, the car's struggling a bit on grip, but the Continentals are hanging in there, but we're constantly having to make adjustments with the sway bars, keep on top of it. You can't be really aggressive, especially in traffic. Car slides around on you. So Dane's doing okay, and I think we're top 3, so it's not so bad. We'll just keep plugging away.
Still a long way to go. You were involved with something pretty special last week. A lot of money raised for a very good cause.
Yeah, I was a big part of the Danville Diligence in Danville, California, and a good friend of mine, Jim Edlin, heads that up, and his wife, Chris, and phenomenal people, and they raised almost $1 million for Parkinson's. And a lot of you that know Sonny Whelan knows that he has Parkinson's. He's had it for 8 years or so, so it's a big cause for us. We do a lot with Team Fox, the Michael J. Fox Foundation, so it's near and dear to us. My uncle Dick has Parkinson's, and Chelsea's father has Parkinson's, so it's near and dear to us. It's amazing to raise $1 million on one weekend for the Danville Diligence. So hats off to Jim Edlin for putting that together. Amazing event, and happy to be part of it.
An emotional event, and we talked about this last week and the emotions of that and raising money. That's a good thing, but also emotions in a negative way on the part of Connecticut race fans and really race fans all over the place. A friend of yours passed away.
Yeah, it's a really sad deal, and it all happened on the same night, Danville Diligence last Saturday, and Teddy Christopher's passing. It's a really sad deal. It's unfortunate, Connecticut, New England guy, one of the most winning short track drivers in NASCAR there ever was. Super guy, super aggressive, and just disappointing. Sad to hear what went down, and but he was a Wheeling guy. He was one of us and a New England guy, and just sad to hear about it. But we're thinking about you, Teddy. We got you on the car this weekend.
They're on both cars this weekend, and if they could get him into victory lane, it would be another emotional high for Eric Hearn and this entire Wheeling team. Greg?
Yeah, they actually helped Teddy get into the Rolex 24 a couple of times in 06-08. As he said, a long-time support from Wheeling, longtime friend of Wheeling, and died in a plane crash. So, very sad indeed. Thoughts with the Christopher family at this time.
Absolutely, and we're now on board with Renger van der Zande as he's trying to chase down Dane Cameron. Irony here is Renger van der Zande's engineer is Dane Cameron's dad. Meanwhile, this is Dane Cameron's new engineer, Timmy Keane. We talked about it earlier, making the move over from Mike Shank Racing, has been part of that NSX development program this year. One of the top guys you can have in this industry, calling the shots. I spoke to Dane earlier this weekend. He said he's so good on the radio in terms of talking you around the racetrack, finding you gaps in traffic. And Tippy's one of those guys. He's a cheerleader. He is a great guy to have in your arsenal, and he'll be pushing Dane Cameron through these last couple of events for Wheeling Engineering.
And there he's going to have to be very busy, I think, in informing Dane Cameron, because Renger van der Zande, every time he gets through on traffic, he's able to run down at number 31. I'll tell you, these Visit Florida guys right now are absolutely delighted with that Ligier chassis. Up front, it continues to be Jordan Taylor now leading overall. There is a look at him as he works his way through some traffic.
To leave a mark. Lexus High Performance with 5-liter V8s and Sport Direct Shift transmissions. Experience a shift in the natural order. Experience amazing.
On the track or on the street, Michelin Pilot tires are chosen by the best for their best. Genuine passion, exceptional drives.
Action every corner of every lap of every race. It is a sprint race in every sense of the word. So I got a bit of advice. Find a cold beverage, somewhere comfy to sit, and get ready because this is sports car racing.
And there is a look at Joao behind the wheel of the number 5 Mustang sampling Cadillac, the Continental Tire Monterey Grand Prix. You know, Joao's one of those guys, you run into him in the paddock, you talk to him, he's very quiet, very even keel, snaps that visor down. The guy's an animal, and he is one of the most brilliant drivers at conserving fuel while still maintaining pace I've ever seen.
Yeah, he is. He's really an assassin behind the wheel. Unfortunately, in terms of saving fuel, I think Jordan Taylor's maybe the best. I feel he's the man he's chasing. Meanwhile, Dane Cameron is catching this group ever so slightly, the lead duo, but he's got someone right behind him, Ringer van der Zande, who's so hungry. The Flying Dutchman is simply on the pace here this weekend. As you said, Greg, the Visit Florida group have really got that Ligier flying here.
Well, I mean, they literally got the car right before Road America, and Ringer at that point said, it's very quick, but at that point he said incredibly pointy and edgy. They've now been able to get a little test time on it, and said they got their heads wrapped around it a little bit better, and they are giving it a tremendous run right now.
Alessandro Balzan, our GTD championship leader, along with his co-driver Christina Nielsen, who started this race, having another strong run. Other than Daytona, where they had an engine failure, Greg was leading the 24-hour race towards the end of the event, had a brilliant championship run. They're the defending class champions. They lead the championship coming into this race, but without a victory. Just constantly on the podium, top 5 runs have given them that championship lead. And once again, they find themselves towards the sharp end of the pack, currently running in the 6th position.
Yeah, they have a real nose for points, those two, and that Ferrari. But lately having a nose for outright speed is the number 16. This is the Change Racing Lamborghini that has been absolutely flying as of late. Jerome Moll, a couple of poles and the big win most recently at Virginia International Raceway. It was a fraught one when you got Klingman chasing me down in the late going, and Corey Lewis, who's the co-driver in that car, did a tremendous job. But these Lamborghini, look at that!
Using all of the curb, nice catch, still made the apex, but that was a little bit of a wild ride there. Just bit off a little bit more of that curbing on the entry there, unsettled the platform of the car, but this guy was on top of the wheel and made it happen. He's feeling the pressure from behind from a GT Le Mans machine. That's the Corvette Racing number 4, Ollie Gavin behind the wheel. You can just see there the equality between GTD and GT Le Mans, even into the brake zones now, Greg. The GTD car has ABS. You look down the straightaway, pretty evenly matched. It's really a tough ride for these GT Le Mans drivers to cut their way through the traffic.
It's right there when you get into the brake zone. The arrow on the GT Le Mans car can make a little bit of a difference. Although the ABS of those GT Daytona cars really makes it, as you said, difficult all the way around on a lap. And as we are watching that number 4 Corvette working its way up, back in the order still a little bit in the GT Le Mans category, a car that is absolutely on form. Both drivers looking awfully good here in the early going. The number 66 Ford GT, Dirk Mueller with Jamie Howe.
If you look at the scoring monitor, Greg, you'll notice the fastest lap time of the race in the GTLM category belongs to you, Dirk. When you were in the car for your stint, I know you wanted that pole, but what condition is the car in race form?
Well, first of all, I had a lot of fun, and really thanks to my boys, Fortune Ganassi Racing boys, gave us a good car. And you're talking about qualifying, and you always want to be on pole, that's for sure. And I'm the guy, I'm always saying, like second is the first loser, right? But our focus was only for the race. It was only for the race. We knew the weather is changing for Sunday. We knew it's getting warmer. And my engineers, John and Mike, you know, they were all like calming us down and like, road is nice, but you know what? We need to have a car for the race. But guess what? I had a lot of fun in qualifying. I was able to push for the pole position. It was close at the end. That was really great. Start of the race was fantastic. So we just went to. I enjoyed the first stint basically. At the end I had to take off the pace a little bit. I had to save my traction. We know why, so we did little adjustments for Joey. That he's comfy, and right now it looks like he's really comfy, so looking forward.
We all know what happens to Joey Hand's comfy, guys.
Yeah, he closes, it does. He closes that margin up to well under a second in a short amount of time is what he does when it's comfy. Yeah, I love it when
Olivier Pla, the Frenchman, now behind the wheel, who he just gets back on the lead lap with that move there, Greg. He dropped down the order a little bit, so that was good news for those guys who've got a fast pilot behind the wheel here. Ollie Pla drives the Ford GT team in the World Endurance Championship, but really a mega pilot behind the wheel of one of these prototype machines as well.
Olivier Pla can fly. There's no question about it. We've seen it many times. There's a look at the 96 entry. Don't see really any significant damage. Hopefully it was just a light brush. And everybody continues. Taylor leads overall in the Cadillac. Fisichella under pressure from Hand in GT Le Mans.
Dreams. All the wins in Cleveland. All the Astros magic. Double plays. Punch-outs in Boston. And long balls in New York. Don't mean anything now. Because the only thing that matters is October.
Leader of the race in the early going, Daniel Moret had turned over to Pat Long. Long charging his way back up to the pack and suddenly just pulled off. Was exiting turn 3. Something went amiss. He pulled to the outside of the track, then cut across and is now parked at the outside of turn 4. Here's a look at what happened. Not a lot to see.
Now, and in the drivers' meetings, all of the drivers are given the various safe zones that they can try and get to. So I'm assuming that's what Patrick is trying to find right here. But Jamie, what's gone wrong with the 28 machine today?
Patrick was on the radio with the team, and he said he was going to full throttle and everything was fine, and then it just completely went dead, so he lost all drive, gearbox issues today. He said, sorry guys, it was really good. We'll go and get him at the next one.
Yeah, they were definitely on the move. Had a great qualifying run. Murad had led. And
I believe it'll be Michael Christensen back behind the wheel for the 10-hour Petit Le Mans. With Michael De Casada and Moret. Oh, look at this one. The SM machines is off. This is Ryan Dial. Just gets it wrong. They see the big drop off there behind that curve there, Greg. That's a great shot at it right there as you see the number 75 car go through the shot. The Sun Energy AMG Mercedes.
And the drop off can unsettle the car, but if you get far enough off it, it can really chew up the inside of the sidewall. Let's take a look at what happened to Ryan.
Here he is coming into turn 3. Oh, a little bit of lockup. Just locks up the rears momentarily. That means when you're locked up, Greg, you're trying to straighten the wheel a little bit because basically it's like yanking on an e-brake. If you got a rental car and you play games, yank on that e-brake. And we're understanding that was his outlap. Yeah, he just made his second stop of the day, so I believe that was an outlap. Not sure if it was just cold tires caught him out or not. Meanwhile, that 10 car, the lead, has been cut down a little bit, Brian Till. What are the team thinking?
Well, we'll find out. Ricky Taylor, you did the first stint. Jordan seems to be backing up to the competition just a little bit. Everything all right with the 10?
Yeah, I mean, we're really trying to be very conservative. We know we've got a quick car. You know, all the Cadillacs have been really strong here in Laguna Seca. But we're really trying to be safe, and sometimes when you're trying to stay out of trouble, it finds you. And so that BMW touched us a little bit. I didn't get a good look at it, but Jordan said the car feels fine. I think we're also saving tires. This track's very hard on tires, so I think in the second half of the stint, maybe Jordan will start to stretch that back out.
There you go. They've got a good car, and sometimes, guys, as he just said, when you're conservative, you really ought to be going for it. Jamie?
When you talk about conservative, Risi Concezioni not taking many chances, Tony. I know the team put some tire split lights in the cockpit for you, and Giancarlo also telling you to stay on traction control as much as possible. What role did those play today?
Yeah, I mean, the conditions out there are so difficult. It's completely different compared to the practice sessions we had. That's really demanding on tires, really demanding to keep the car on the road. Traffic also is a big task. I had a small moment with the Whelen car, so yeah, good advice. Keep the car on the track.
And when I